Alrighty. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Southern Sorcery. I am pleased to announce this is our first ever episode of The Sit Down, and I have a very special guest today, and that is Sam Philibert. He is a level 2 judge. Take it away, Sam.
Yeah, like Shane said, my name is Sam Philibert. I am a level 2 Magic judge. Level 2 just means I am certified to judge competitive Magic, travel all over the country to judge various competitive events, so happy to be here. Nice,
yeah. So the premise of these videos is just basically I'm going to pull in some members of the community, people who are influential to Magic or who are around Magic on a daily basis, and I've just got a slew of questions, so we're excited to get into that. So I want to start off, very intro question. How did you originally get into Magic?
Yeah, so I have always been into kind of card games and just kind of the nerdy stuff. And as I got a little bit older, I had a friend who played Magic, and I really wanted to learn. And one night, he actually had me doing I was helping him with work around his house, and he bought me a starter kit and taught me how to play, and never looked back.
Perfect. I think that's a perfect way to get into Magic, is having a friend who does, and they're usually always so nice to either just give you cards that they've got bulk, or they've got a pre-con laying around. It's like, hey man, I know it's expensive to get into, so let's get you into Magic with this. So that's awesome to hear. Along those lines, I always like to ask this question: what's your favorite Magic card?
Favorite Magic card? Probably the one that sums up the biggest thing about Magic to me is omniscience. It kind of sums up, the mindfulness behind Magic and the thoughtfulness and the power of Magic. And as a judge, that's what I love. So.
Sure. Yeah, man. When that card hits, it's typically a good game.
Yeah.
All right, and then along those lines too, what's your favorite format to play?
It shifted around a lot, but right now I'm really loving Pioneer.
Yeah.
Pioneer is everything from Return to Ravnica to now, any standard sets only. So it's a good format that the power level hasn't quite gotten as outrageous as other formats like Modern, where they've injected all these free spells into it, and crazy powerful spells. So it's just, a lot of it is just cards of standards past that are doing well, and it's a lot of fun.
For sure, yeah. I actually remember when Pioneer first hit the scene, and it took off like wildfire. So it's always fun to see those types of formats do well just from the get-go and really build up and become staples of the game. Yeah,
absolutely.
Cool. So you play Commander as well, because we play in our play group. And then you also play Legacy, right?
Yep, I play a little bit of Legacy, not super competitively. I've never went to a Legacy event, but some of the guys around the store I hang out at, they all play Legacy, and so I built Is It Delver.
Nice, classic.
I have my one volcanic island in there, so I have a good time playing that deck.
Yes, nice, cool. All right, man. Well, what does it mean to be a Magic judge? Let's explain it, just to everybody so they're familiar with what that is.
Yeah, so Magic judges we are neutral arbiters of the game, would be the official definition. And our job is to oversee tournaments, oversee any kind of sanctioned or sometimes even unsanctioned gameplay, where we come in and at the end of the day, our job is to make sure that everybody has the most fair experience, and for the most part, making sure everybody has the most fun experience as well. Those are normally kind of my two big things for when I'm judging.
Very cool. I like that a lot. Yeah. So why did you decide to become a judge?
Yeah, so after I learned to play, I was really loving the rules and the intricacies. I was a soccer referee for 10 years. I'm an accountant in my daily life, and so just the rules and intricacies of things have always been big for me. And so when I found out there were Magic judges that get to nerd out over the rules and learn the rules, I was here for it.
Bring the two worlds together. Yeah, I like that. That's funny because there's by no means would I think you would ever catch anyone saying, hey, Magic's an easy game, right? It's very, very complex, but I think that's also what makes it so fun. It's I learn stuff. I've been playing for years, and I still learn stuff all the time.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, Magic is literally the most complicated game on the planet. There is no game more complicated than Magic.
Yeah, you heard it here first, folks. Yeah, if you're going to dive in, just be ready to hit the deep end.
Yeah.
Cool. So how long have you been a judge?
Yeah, so I got my L1 right around February 2020. Yep. Didn't get to judge for a little while because something called coronavirus happened.
That was a thing.
Yes. So I got my L1, didn't get to really judge any events for a little while. But then events kind of slowly started coming back, and then I became an L2 actually in July of 2023, so this year.
Yep.
Is when I became an L2 and was promoted to be a competitive judge.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, congrats, by the way.
Thank you.
I shouted you out on one of the episodes I did of Box Break, because I remember when that happened. That was a big event. Yeah. So, what kind of events? I'm sorry. What is your favorite part of being a judge?
Favorite part of being a judge? Probably just getting to help grow the community.
Yeah.
Especially as a level 2, I'm considered to be one of the leaders of the community.
Sure.
So I love working with stores and helping them run a better event. I love working with players, helping them be a better player, and how to have them help have a better event. So just overall, just kind of getting to guide the community in a growth direction.
Nice. I like that a lot. Yeah, and this is kind of an impromptu. I have some set questions here about this one off script. Is there a program or something set in place where judges help other judges in context of like getting ready to become an L2 or just getting into becoming a judge?
Absolutely. So as far as there being like an official program where you drop your name in the hat and somebody plucks it out to mentor you, mm-hmm. that doesn't happen as much. But the judge community does encourage a lot of connections.
Sure.
And connecting with fellow judges.
Awesome.
So when I decided that I wanted to do some more competitive Magic, and our store here in Cartersville, Showcase Games, big shout out to Showcase if you're ever in Cartersville. They were about to start doing competitive Magic as they brought the new system in for professional play. And my store owner, or the store owner of Showcase, asked me, hey, do you want to head judge our competitive tournaments? Said, I would love to. I have no idea how to. And so I reached out to some people in the community, and I ended up getting connected with a guy named Gary Rowland. He is an L2 out of Alabama, fantastic judge, been doing it a long time. And he took me in, and he became my mentor, and he's still my mentor. And he coached me up to the point where he eventually was the one to give me my level 2 recommendation that got me promoted. But even beyond that, he still mentors me every single day. We talk all the time.
Yeah.
And now I'm beginning to mentor other people who are wanting to become level 1s.
Full circle.
Yes,
I like that.
exactly.
That's awesome. Cool, man. So yeah, what kind of events have you judged thus far?
Yeah, I've judged all kind of events. So we talk about 2 main different kinds of events that a judge of my level does. So we have regular, which is most events that you are going to attend. Your pre-releases, your Friday night Magic, your just random events at the store. Most of those events are run at regular. It's mostly about let's have fun, let's have a good time. Then you have competitive. Competitive is, competitive. There are normally higher prizes on the line, bigger stakes, and that kind of splits the 2 types of events that I judge. So I've judged pre-releases, I've judged $10,000 prize pool tournaments, legacy tournaments. I actually did one recently in Baltimore. So I've judged all kinds of stuff, down to where we're playing for a pack per match win to playing for a $10,000 prize pool.
Yeah, I always compare that to watch your hand draw your card, and if it's steady, you're playing for fun, probably.
Yeah.
Playing for $10,000, you might.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's fun. So what is your favorite part about being a judge?
Favorite part of being a judge?
I think maybe I've already asked that.
We
Sorry.
already answered that one. Yeah,
okay, cool. How does someone become a judge?
Yeah, so right now the current process is through an organization called Judge Academy.
Okay.
So Judge Academy provides a certification for judges to be able to go to TOs, which are, tournament organizers, and say, hey, I have this certification that shows I'm a person who is qualified with Magic rules and certain aspects of running a Magic tournament. And so to do that, you would go through Judge Academy. They have some modules that you go through. You take a bunch of quizzes and things like that. Then once you complete all of those, you need someone who is level 2 or level 3 to sign off on you and kind of mentor you, or even just say, hey, I think this person's going to be a good judge, and they put a recommendation on your account. Then you go get to take the level 1 final exam. Once you do that and pass that, you get to begin paying your annual dues, and then you are officially a Magic judge.
Nice. Is that how hard is that test?
The level 1 exam wasn't too bad. I remember I only had to take it once. I have heard that not everybody passes it on their first time, which is totally fine. But you're pretty prepared for it.
Sure, by that time.
The modules cover pretty well. I remember there were several modules I had to go through like 3 or 4 times. So it takes time. It takes dedication to kind of getting to the rules on a deeper level.
That's good, because you don't want to see anybody be like, I want to be a judge today.
Yes.
And it's like, now you have to trust them with the rules. Yes. And you're like, okay, yeah, you got to put my faith in the judge, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. So do you have a favorite rules interaction?
Yeah, so
this is an interesting question.
Yeah, I was thinking long and hard about this, and there's one, and it actually sees a little bit of play that this one does. When I say sees play, I mean in competitive play.
Sure.
So there's a card called Bring to Light. It's 3, a green and a blue, and when you cast Bring to Light, you get to search your library, I believe, for a card with mana value less than the number of colors spent on Bring to Light. And so what they'll do is they'll just cast it for, let's just say, green and blue mana. So they go get something with mana value 2 or less, and then they get to cast it without paying its mana cost. What they'll do is they'll go get Valki, God of Lies. That is a 2 mana value spell. And then the game says, okay, you can cast that spell without paying its mana cost. Well, then the game says, hey, which side do you want to cast? Oh, well, I'm going to cast the 7 mana Planeswalker on the back.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's one of my favorite interactions, and that actually Cascade used to work like that, and because that interaction was so busted, they had to change the rules of Cascade to make that not work anymore.
Yes. Dang, yeah, man. To go get a 2-drop and then all of a sudden you have a 7-drop Planeswalker on the field out of nowhere. Yeah, that seems pretty busted. Yeah, that is a cool interaction. Yeah, that's interesting. Nice. So, what do you think the most complicated part of Magic rules are?
Yeah, this one was an easy one for me. It's a part of the rules that not a lot of people know exist.
Yeah.
So, have you ever seen Shrek?
I have, yes.
You remember what he says about onions?
Layers.
Layers are by far the hardest part of the rules. I'm going to give you a really good example as to why.
Right, lay it on us.
Yeah, so layers are, it is how we apply multiple continuous effects at one time in the order in which we apply them. There's 7 layers, and some of those layers have sublayers. So, I brought a couple cards with me.
Perfect.
I'm sure we can put them up on the screen.
Yeah.
So, we have a Dryad of the Elysian Grove. It is a 3 mana creature, and it says you may play an additional land on each of your turns. Your lands you control are every basic land type in addition to their other types. So what would you say if you controlled Dryad of the Elysian Grove, and I have Dress Down? So Dress Down says creatures lose all abilities, is the main pertinent text of that. What would you say happens to all of your lands if these two things are on the battlefield at the same time?
So lands you control every basic land type in addition to the other types. And then creatures lose all abilities. So when it enters the battlefield, you draw a card. I would say that you could no longer...
You're questioning yourself.
I am questioning myself, yeah. So you've lost this ability due to this coming into play.
Right.
And so now lands aren't every basic land type in addition to their other types?
You would think it worked like that, but it doesn't.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so because Dryad of the Elysian's Grove, its second effect is what we call a type-changing effect. That applies in an earlier layer than Dress Down, where we apply abilities. So Dress Down causes it to lose its ability, and I believe in layer 6. And the type changing effect happens in layer 4. So because we apply those in layer order.
In those orders.
Yes.
Okay.
Dryad's effect is actually applying before Dress Down can take it away. So yes, Dryad of the Elysian Grove does technically lose the ability, but it is already given your lands every basic land type before it's lost that ability. So Dress Down does nothing to affect Dryad of the Elysian Grove.
Man, what a bummer. If you played that thinking that you're going to take care of that threat, and it turns out you're a layer too short.
that is a very common interaction in Modern.
Sure.
Yeah, there's a deck that runs Primeval Titan that uses Dryad of the Elysian Grove.
Yep.
And Dress Down is a big thing in Modern, and that was a very common question that we judges get all the time is about those two cards.
Man, just like an onion. You got
Just
layers.
like an onion.
Yeah, well, thank you for explaining that. Yeah, I totally would have missed that.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. So, this is a question that I like to ask. What do you think of Arena from a judge's perspective?
Yeah, so Arena, it's good and it's bad at the same time. If anybody is ever asking me how to play, I'm not in a position to teach them, I'll sometimes nudge them towards Arena.
Yeah.
Arena does a really good job of teaching the basics. Its 5-color challenge is awesome. It kind of works you through a starter deck with each of the 5 colors and teaches you how to cast a spell, what lands are, shows you kind of how priority and the stack works a little bit. So Arena does a great job of teaching the basics. However, outside of bugs, because every program ever is going to have bugs.
Sure.
So Arena does have bugs from time to time, and that always isn't the best because sometimes I've heard players say before, oh, well, Arena does it this way. And my normal response to that is, well, Arena is not the authority on the rules. The comprehensive rules are the authority on the rules. Arena is meant to operate within those. And occasionally programs mess up, Arena messes up. And then other than that too, there's some things with Arena. For example, it can cause players to have unrealistic expectations if they're playing Arena and then they come to play at a store event and they've never played in a store event before. One of the more common ones I see is maybe I play Thoughtseize on you, and so I now know what 7 cards you have in your hand. And then we go back to, I'm done resolving Thoughtseize and we pass the turn or what have you. Arena keeps those cards revealed.
Yes.
In Paper Magic, there is no such requirement. If I've Thoughtseized you, you have to show me your hand while Thoughtseize is resolving. Once it's done resolving, it goes to my graveyard. I no longer have permission to see your hand. So in that sense, Arena does cause some unrealistic expectations sometimes. But like I said, it's great for new people who want to kind of get a feel for how things operate. One of the ways when I was first learning how to play and I really wanted to just grind and play all the time is I downloaded the predecessor to Arena. I think it was called Magic Duels.
That's right.
Yeah, it was on iOS. I played that a good bit, and that kind of helped me figure out some things with timing and when and how to use an instant and things like that. So it can definitely help you figure out some good stuff like that.
I like that. Yeah, all the phases for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen the videos too. People breaking Arena. The infinite combos.
Yep.
If you haven't, go look it up on YouTube. It's very funny if people like make infinite tokens and the Arena's like, I don't know what to do with all these tokens.
Yes,
very funny.
And they actually, because of that, Arena now has a cap. You can only have 250 tokens at a time on the battlefield.
Wow. So you can't really go infinite. You got, I'm going 250.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome. All right, cool. So if someone was wanting to learn to play Magic or get more into the Magic world, what would you be their recommendation? You just said Arena, but what would you be their biggest recommendation to get started?
Yeah, so like you said earlier, having someone to teach you in person is the best. But short of that, go to your local game store.
For sure.
You can go to the Wizards event locator and you can find local stores near you. Walk in there, ask someone behind the counter, hey, I'm wanting to learn to play Magic. What kind of events do you have? Or just call them up and ask about what events they have. My favorite event, if I'm ever talking to somebody who's never played in a store event, pre-release. Pre-release is the absolute best event for a first timer because it's such a casual environment.
It is, yeah.
Where everybody's just playing with new cards. The stakes are low. Like most of the time, stores do a pack per match win, so we're not fighting over anything crazy. And I even say in my head judge announcements when I'm judging it a pre-release, I say, hey, if you're having trouble building your deck, ask the person next to you, ask me, ask the store owner. We're all here to have fun and have a good time, or let's just have a good time with these new cards. So pre-release is the best event for you to check out. But yeah, and then like I said, Arena, it's good to help you kind of learn those base rules and base mechanics. But I would also say when you're playing at a store event, never be afraid to ask for help. Every event has a judge. It's not always a certified judge. Sometimes it's just a store employee.
Judge.
Raise your hand. Ask for a judge. Ask, and even if there's not somebody around, a lot of times there's another player in the event who just knows the rules really well, and they can come over and they can answer a question about a card in your hand that you're not sure about. That's what I love about the Magic community. Very welcoming. We want to help each other to learn and get better.
Very true. I've been at those same events, and I've by no means, I'm not a judge, but I've been in situations where I'm playing with someone new, and you don't want them to like just have a terrible time. So you can. I've always said, hey, try doing this instead. And it just cultivates a better environment. It makes them want to come back because no one wants to like show up, get stomped, have no help, and then So I would agree. Pre-releases are great. So if you haven't been to a pre-release, highly recommend going to one. They're a lot of fun. Yeah,
the next one by the time y'all watch this video will be Lost Caverns of Ixalan.
Yes, I'm so excited for that set.
Yeah, I think that one's coming out in November or December. It'll be in the later part of the year because we just got through Wilds of Eldraine, which was quite a fun pre-release. But yeah, so Lost Caverns of Ixalan coming up. Look out for your local store doing pre-release. That'll be a great time.
Agreed. Yeah. Cool. So last question. This is a fun one. To you, what is your dream event to judge?
Yeah, so I do have pretty high aspirations as a judge in my long-term judge career. And so there is one level above me, level 3, that I do eventually strive to go for. But my dream event that I believe is almost exclusively staffed by level 3 judges, would be the World Championship. Ooh. Yeah, which is the absolute highest level. That is the Super Bowl of Magic. It does not get any higher than that. And then even as kind of connected with that, the Pro Tour. I would love to one day get to judge at the Pro Tour. I've met a bunch of people who've done it, and
that would be so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about a lot of celebrities, just guys that just know Magic like a second language too.
Yeah.
And is this, and maybe you don't know this, but last year the winner, he had the card created after him. Is that going to be
That's every year.
That is every year.
That's been that way for a long time.
Yeah.
A lot of cards and nicknames comes from that.
Yeah.
So Dark Confidant, his nickname is Bob.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the player, but his name was Bob.
Okay.
And then you had Paulo Vitor Di Damarosa. He's an elite spellbinder.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
So anytime you have a World Championship winner, they get to design a card and have an imprint.
Have their likeness or something to that effect.
Yes.
That's really cool. That's like, I don't know, something like the prize money's great, obviously. Like, yes, but like that's like almost like here's my own legacy. This card's mine forever. Well, Sam, thank you so much for coming on. Anything you want to tell the people?
Yeah, play Magic. It's a fun game.
It is. I highly recommend it.
Yes.
Guys, thanks again for watching. Please like and subscribe. We're going to start doing these more periodically, so be on the lookout for some more of these videos. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you want to become more, or if you want to learn more about becoming a judge, I'll link everything that he was just talking about in the description of the video, so be sure to check that out. Sam, thanks again. Tell the people bye.
Bye.